This might be really loud with the traffic, so I'm really sorry about that. Ronnie Watts. Oh my word. Okay, so... Sorry, I'm just a little bit sleepy. I got to sleep after 3 a.m, but 6 o'clock I was woken up by the neighbours slamming the door and screaming. And it was a rude awakening. I did go out to see if things were alright, and she drove off in her car, so I might put a little card in her letterbox just to see how she is. But Ronnie Watts, okay, so for years, you know, I've thought, Ronnie Watts, I don't want to say let your son down, because, you know, his duty as a parent was to get his son to do the right thing. Whether or not that's really what he facilitated because of the part confession, I'm not sure. But I thought for many years, look, he just didn't have the wherewithal that Nicole Kessinger's father had. He didn't have the self-possession. He was overwhelmed. He was bamboozled. He was all sorts of out of sorts, and was able to be used as a tool by law enforcement to get this half-assed, ridiculous confession from his son. Okay. And then I thought, well, okay, look, he's the one that's being a little bit silent now. What does he really think? Did he not want to give it a go in getting Chris away from the police at the time of the polygraph? Did he not want to give it a go? Did he not want to just let this, you know, things run their course and see actually what they came up with in the investigation? True, it would have been worse for him probably. Worse for Chris. But I thought, well, maybe, just maybe he wanted Chris off the streets, you know? And then he's interviewed by Kim Kaufman, this poor delusional woman who is supporting the Watts and Chris Watts's appeal. So there's a two-part interview. I've just listened through it once. And what did I extrapolate from that? Well, at one point it seems like Ronnie is about to trip up with regards to a conversation he had with Christopher when Christopher went to Carolina, and when Ronnie asserts that Chris told him, he and Shan'ann, oh, you know, we've been getting separated for quite some time, the house is on the market. It seemed like he was also going to say something about part of the case that he shouldn't have, about Nicole Kessinger, and instead he sort of stops and stumbles. I mean, I know he talks mealy-mouthed and mumbly anyway, but he sort of stops, stumbles, and starts halfway through another sentence, and that sentence is to do with looking for, you know, the two-bedroom apartment. Chris is looking for this two-bedroom apartment. So we know what was on his mind when he's mentioning this, and that's Nicole Kessinger. So the other thing is that Kim isn't as stupid as you might think. I mean, why she's sucked in, I don't know. At first I thought it's just because she wants the notoriety. She has her own reasons that we can't divine, you know, because we've got no way of knowing unless she's, you know, we see her desires come through later, you know, and eventuate through her actions later. But, you know, I thought, oh God, is she as thick as two short planks? Well, she's got a little bit of astuteness there, because Ronnie starts harping on about facts at the end, how people don't, they just like to talk, I guess how I am now. They just like to talk, but it's not about facts. And she sort of cuts the interview off quick, smart. The main thing I noticed, though, is that Ronnie, he's cried twice recently. And most recently, it was when he got baptized. Oh my God. Now, why do people get baptized and find this sort of Christianity at this time of life? Well, they want to be saved. They feel guilty. They feel terrible. But Ronnie Watts is the proverbial camel trying to get through the eye of the needle into heaven. Baptism isn't saving his soul. He has guilty knowledge. In the minimum, he has aided and abetted impossibility, and he's feeling sick about it, as he should be. He's feeling worried for his mortal soul, as he should be. He knows he's a schmuck. He knows he's failed, and so now he's found religion, just like his son, just like his good old boy. There is some serious sickness in this family, in the Watts family, with all of them. Serious sickness. Ronnie acknowledges that he and Chris, they actually might have a little bit of the same. This way of being that is very, just quiet until a certain point. Well, we know how his son snaps. How does Ronnie Watts snap? We know by taking cocaine, possibly. Is that how he reacts when, his tensions run high? Chris Watts annihilates his family. Ronnie Watts annihilates his mind and body with hardcore drugs. Not judging that on its own. I've done the same. But it's, interesting that he acknowledges the lack of confrontation. This is what he's saying, the lack of wanting any confrontation, the confrontational avoidance. He and Chris have it. They suppress, he says, until a certain point. So, mental illness just seems to be coming from both sides of the family, genetically, behaviourally. It's extremely distressing what's going on now. Extremely. Come here, bub. We're going now. Yeah. I was so confused about Ronnie, how is he caught up in this? What drives him to his cocaine addiction? Is it just being involved in the family he is? Was it missing his son, not going to the wedding? They talk about love, but why they're doing this, I don't know. But it's not really actually even love for Chris. They're all self-service, those Watts people, because they couldn't go to Chris Watts' wedding. They hate Shan'ann that much. And think about that. Think about how much they hate Shan'ann. They hate her. Ronnie Watts is now calling her evil. At the same time, I think it's very interesting that he's going to get baptized and that this is a moving moment for him. Because I think it gives him some protection. And Ronnie Watts, it does not.